Give them a shot to do what?
Yeah, and that's why we call vodka and prune juice instant sex version 2. On this episode, we are going to go over NFL Week 17 with the good, bad, and fugly. And I have a sneaky suspicion that Bert's going to let me have it on the bad and or fugly part.
Or both.
Or maybe. Yeah. There wasn't that much good coming from that game. Also, the NFL playoffs are heating up. We have some divisions on the line. We'll see which NFL wildcard teams we trust the most and more next. Sports. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports. I am the Facebook felon Jerm. That is the Purdy Corey Bert. And we are presented by the Give Us a Shot Network. We're powered by Fast Break Coffee and sponsored, as always, by the haters. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the long timers, the first timers, the last timers, the YouTube viewership, the podcast listenership, the social media ship specifically. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate all your love and support. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Don't really care if you watch, but if you can't do any of that stuff, I am inclined to believe you are a hater, and I hope your mother stubs her toe. Bert, what's up, man?
Nothing, man. You know, just the usual holiday hangover of we don't know what daytime or anything's going on until New Year's, which is thankfully only a day or so away. Yeah, it's been just kind of like this holiday rush of Christmas and then football through the weekend and now just kind of cruising to Friday is when I return to work. So yeah.
I don't go back to work until I do go back to work pretty soon here, probably not until Tuesday. But how was your Christmas? Everything was good?
Man, it was good. Kids had fun, spoiled as always. We hosted, so we didn't have to go anywhere, thankfully.
That's nice.
My wife and I did a lot of prep the day before on Christmas Eve. So like, it was really just a matter of like putting things in the oven. Wasn't a lot of like huge lifting, just a lot of timing, but overall it was good. Kids were up at like 4:45 a.m.
Damn.
Obscene. We were like, we're not living in 2-level houses. It's like, we're not going downstairs. We're going to stay up here. Your choices are get in your bed and close your eyes and don't make any noise, or get in your bed and close your eyes and don't make any noise. And they lasted until about 6:30, but not quiet the entire time. So in essence, we were all up from like 4:45 that day. So once Christmas night rolled around, we were just passed out. It was a lot going on. But yeah, how about you? You were on shift until that morning, right?
I was on shift until that morning. Luckily, nothing crazy happened. Christmas went great. My sister-in-law hosts like she usually does, just because she has the most room. It was fine. The kids, I'm a little tired of thousands of gifts under the tree. Like, I know it's a nice visual, but we need to start thinking about the dads in here, because we got to clean that shit up. And you start opening gifts. I propose next year that you go to your local big box store or your local appliance store, maybe PC Richard and Son, and you ask them, hey, you got any big washer boxes, big refrigerator boxes? And you dump all the gifts in one giant box. And then you wrap the one box. And then that way, you can open up all your gifts, and you know what you can do with all the trash? You dump it right back into the box, and we can take it right to the dumpster. But me tripping and falling and walking around gifts like they're landmines. Well, my mother-in-law has 7, 8 grandkids. Like, that's a lot of gifts. And that was the worst part. It was like walking in there, seeing all the gifts, and just dreading that I have, like, me and my brother-in-law and Ashley's cousins, we were walking around with trash bags like we worked for the trash company. Like, that was our job. Like, you just picking up trash for 2 hours. It was not something that I was trying to do. Luckily, I had my Fireball and my black coffee with me, so it made it go a little little smoother than normal.
Yeah, that is the job, right? For us, it's like grab the trash bag, make sure all the paper makes it in there. And then my biggest thing is like, especially when we're at home too, like they unwrap everything and then they just put it back under the tree. And it's like, all right, well, let's find a spot for these. Like they're not going to stay here. This tree is coming down no later than the 1st. So we got to clean this up. Let's do it now so it's not later. But I try to remember that for them it truly is just like an awesome day. So I'm trying not to be too much of a like, put this here or there. But oh dude, rest assured, come the 26th, it all goes where it needs to go.
Yeah, for sure. All right, week 18 is upon us. Last week of the NFL. This NFL season went by really fast, and I'm not really happy about it. But we'll do the last picks of Bucket of Doom. We'll update the standings at some point tomorrow. Get the picks out of the way. Bert, you have the New England Patriots. Nice. Now, this is a tricky week because a lot of teams don't have a lot to play for. They're going to be resting their starters. I know the Chargers are already resting their starters, which sucks for the Bills because I kind of need them to win so we can have a path to the 5 seed, which is the seed that I want. Because right now we're currently the 7th, and that's not great. The 6th seed's not great either. Corey with the Seattle Seahawks. Dwayne Marcus, the Philadelphia Eagles. Me, the New York Giants. Carl, the Arizona Cardinals. Mike, the Tennessee Titans.
You already pulled yours. You got the Giants.
I said tie.
Oh, I thought you said I.
Yeah. No, tie. The Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm pretty sure the Bucket of Doom is coming down to Ty and Carl and Corey, I believe, are the I don't think mathematically, I think those are the 3 that it's close with. So I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure last I looked last week, it was them 3. And I think Ty's probably the most likely culprit, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes after this week. All right, Bert. Let's just get out the way. Good, bad, and fugly.
I give you credit for rolling with your team and wearing that hat instead of going with somewhere else. And we'll get to that in a second because I truly do think that you need to eat every single word that has had and been said by yourself about the Philadelphia Eagle franchise in general. However, we're going to put that aside for now. My good has to go to Derrick Henry. Had an absolute monster performance to help keep his team alive. And then for, basically a game to decide the division in itself is truly exciting coming down to the wire. But I mean, the dude ran for 216 with 4 touchdowns. And if it wasn't for the absolute implosion that was the Steelers against the Browns last weekend, honestly, this performance combined with that is what's keeping them in it. All they have to do is win to stay alive, especially after they're getting word that, the Steelers did not get it done. And now we're going into the last week of football with some games that absolutely matter. So, but overall, Derrick Henry, stud and star of the week for me in my win column.
Mine's going to go to the 49ers defeating the Chicago Bears. The result is not surprising. The Bears lost, as predicted, as foretold by yours truly. I know the reaction is going to be, oh, well, it was a shootout. The Bears are close. Sure, I can see why, or somebody whose GPA is like Angel Reese, 1.8. I can see why you would think that. However, I would like to.
Strays, Jesus.
Bert, listen, what I like to do is watch the games, okay? This is going to be a recurring theme, okay? I don't watch red zone highlights. I don't look at box scores where you see Caleb Williams throw for 330 yards and you think that's the story of the game. What I saw was the Niners, who are not a team you want to see in the playoffs, and the Bears are who we have, me, I should say, have consistently on the show have just said is a nice story. That's going to get bounced in the wild card round. And I'll tell you, on top of the Niners overall, Brock Purdy for me really gets the good because to me, this was a game where he graduated from the game manager stuff. He doesn't produce 1 yard in the second half like that game manager in Philly did. He accounted for 5 scores, okay? 3 through the air, 2 on the ground, 300 plus yards. That, like, you won the the supremely underwhelming NFC North. Good job for the Bears. You won that. You're still missing layups in week 17. You can hang that banner. But this was the difference between a playoff team and a championship team. That's the difference. Brock Purdy makes the throws to Juwan Jennings. Caleb Williams misses throws to J.J. Walker. That's the difference. And the Niners just looked like a team that, even if they do end up at the wild card because of the NFC West, what's happening at the top of the NFC West, that they're going to be very dangerous in the playoffs, and they could host literally all the way through the Super Bowl, seeing that's where the Super Bowl is going to be.
Yeah.
What do you got for bad?
Man, this was a tough one because there were so many teams that just dropped these important games that, obviously winnable. But for me, I honestly have to go with what was front and center, and that was on Christmas Day with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
An abysmal offensive performance all the way down to the last seconds. And it's one of those things where it's no, I take it back, not to the last seconds, because this was something that was just over by half. It's just, they just seemed out of rhythm. It almost seemed as though they were just like phoning it in and like, we're not going to compete. But this is probably the worst performance this year by Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Play calling abysmal too, and in a winnable game and on a holiday too. I expected a little bit more fight, and certainly since they needed a win to stay alive after losing Sunday in that remarkable fashion with the penalty against Pittsburgh. So I mean, for me, they have to get my bad. I think it's also a little bit disappointing too, kind of rooting for them to at least squeak in and see if they can get something going and make something happen. But also, I mean, I don't know if we're witnessing just the championship window closing for them, or if this is just one of those off seasons and next year will be a little bit different.
Yeah. The Lions need a reset, and I agree with everything you said about them. My bad is going to Ty's Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing to the Dolphins. The Dolphins were done, mathematically eliminated, and this is really just a continuation of what we've seen from the Buccaneers the last couple of weeks. You control your own destiny, and you come out against the Miami team that's been checking its watch since basically Thanksgiving, and you lay that egg. And it's not just you lost; it's like the energy that you're playing with is like not what we've seen all year from them. And I've watched Miami's defensive front, which isn't really the 85 Bears, bully the Buccaneers, like just bully them. And then because that's happening, we've been big Baker Mayfield guys on this show from day one.
Oh, yeah.
But we're fair when it comes to criticism, when it warrants it. And Baker had clean pockets where he drifted and ran directly into pressure for no reason. He had a throw, I believe it was like 3rd and long, where like he just threw it into double coverage for no reason. And he could have taken a check down that probably would have got him the first down, but he looks for that big play too much. And I don't know. I just continuing to watch them slide. And then now you're losing momentum because now you have a winner take all scenario with Carolina, who for some reason are still hanging around, who aren't terrible. I don't know. Like you could lose. You had a 4-game lead in this division, and you may not only lose the division, you may be out of the playoffs. Which at the beginning of the year, if you would have told me that, I would have been like, no, there's no way. Buccaneers should run away with this division. And here we are heading into week 18, and you're about to get eliminated if you don't get your shit together versus the Panthers. So they're getting my bad this week.
I mean, Panthers heavy favorite going into the weekend for sure.
Sick.
So it's not. I would say that's very likely that they're going to be on the outside looking in. Excuse me, after Sunday. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the Fugly, shall we? The moment everybody's been waiting for. And speaking of quarterbacks always looking for their big moment, I don't know where to even start with this. Now, with everything I'm about to say, it is going to be very heavily based on the Bills' performance. That shouldn't, by any means, overstate the fact that the Eagles played horrible too. It was just a poor game all around. I think I expected more from the Bills, and particularly Josh Allen. Some of his decision-making in this game was the worst of all time. I don't understand why he was always looking for the big play, the big throw, but more importantly, get rid of the ball. Like the turnovers is what killed me because they were just absolutely ridiculously stupid mistakes. Now, that is completely overshadowed, I think, game-wide for me, by the ridiculous coaching decisions. And I understand you had locked up a playoff position, but to go for 2 when you could just tie it and go into overtime, like what type of cocky bullshit? You deserve every bit of embarrassment as a franchise that you are getting from Sunday into now for everything. And the fact that Sean McDermott still has keys to the facility Monday morning blows my mind, because I don't know how you look at that and say, and I get the excitement factor, but to the same point, like, that win could have mattered 100% when it comes down to seeding. So why not play it safe, kick the field goal, go into OT, and go from there, especially because you were going up against the team that didn't score a point in the half. So for me, the Fugly is the Bills as a whole. And I'm grouping in Josh Allen's play. I'm grouping in coaching decisions. I think it was just a major letdown. Now, Eagles didn't play great as it is. I mean, both teams just abysmal. But I think there was just more opportunity on the Bills front. I'm also focusing them a little bit hard too because, geez, we've sat here for 17 weeks, and I think at least 9 of those weeks you shit on Eagles over and over and over and over again. And it all came down to this game. Jerm, how many fans, like Eagle fans that you know, were texting you on Sunday?
Too many.
Too many?
And one was too many. Like I had to turn my notifications off. It was bad. Noticeably quiet during the game because I think they knew, but after, they thought it wasn't
a walk away, right? I mean, by the half, It was a 2-score game. And then afterwards, it had to be quiet until the last whistle too. I don't think the Eagles, a win's a win. I think to celebrate it as though it was this huge accomplishment, knowing how poorly both teams played is a little ridiculous. But to the same point, I want to say that game was more of a Bills loss than it was an Eagles win. And this game told me everything I needed to know about why the Bills will likely not win a Super Bowl with Sean McDermott as a head coach. And it pains me to say because I want to see success for your team so much, but the decision-making, even in games that we don't think are going to matter, is like Bill Belichick never took a game off. Like Tom Coughlin never took it. Like these elite coaches that are up there will treat every single game like it's a game that matters. And I think just this one, it left me scratching my head a little bit. Like, why not go with your best odds to win? And look, we can sit here and harp on Josh Allen overthrowing or, not seeing his target for the 2-point conversion, but I don't even think they should have been in that position to begin with. So
you said it perfectly. The Eagles didn't win this game. The Bills lost it. And listen, congrats, Eagles fans. Your dog shit offensive team survived the tons of mistakes of the Buffalo Bills. A hurt Josh Allen and the elements. Your offense still lacks identity. You mustered 1 yard of offense in the second half, and only one because Josh Allen simply missed on a throw he makes 9 times out of 10. So if you're going to hang your hat on that, then good luck. But I'm not going to waste any more time on the delusional troglodytes in Philadelphia and their second-rate fan base who, thinks the season's over. The Bills had your number. Like the scoreboard says 13-12. It wasn't 31-12. And this win is a win. You can just save it, okay? Because we're being honest, like the Eagles didn't win the game, Bert. Like what did they do that was impressive? The Bills defense was impressive. The Eagles defense was impressive. It was a great defensive game, but look at the eye test. Who looked better out there, Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen? Josh Allen, yes, had terrible decisions. I'm not absolving Josh Allen at all. Like the running backwards, taking us out of field goal range, those are the plays. Like we're not talking about regression. The Eagles needed a blocked field goal by Jalen Carter and a missed 2-point conversion to win. That was it. That's the game. These variance plays. And so again, you're hanging your hat on that. That's unsustainable football. Let me pause for a second because I felt like I was taking fucking crazy pills watching like people on the timeline today bragging. Like I hear these people just get on here and yap and Jalen Hurts is a winner, man. The Eagles found a way. That's the line. That's always the line. And they do it every time the Eagles play a game and they win a game that the odds say they shouldn't win. That's the line they say. Oh, it just wins. Jalen Hurts just wins football games. Look, I get it. Mm-hmm. And you're 11-15 or 11-5, whatever. Print the shirts. But you can't sit there and act like Jalen Hurts is doing something. Josh Allen is driving a car 100 miles per hour around a cliff with no guardrails because he has to, because that's how the Bills need to compete. Jalen Hurts is sitting in the back of the Uber checking Instagram and then taking credit for the arrival time. That's, I mean, are you serious? Jalen Hurts 0 for 7 in the second half. The entire offense generated 16 yards. That's it. Bert, me and you could go out there, pull our hamstrings and fall forward and get 16 yards. And yet the first comment on the Stuff About Sports Instagram page from Eagles Fly 69 telling me that Hurts is clutch and Josh Allen's a choker because he missed a 2-point conversion in a monsoon. Like, let's be adults here. Let's just be adults. Josh Allen accounted for 300 yards in that game. Like, enough. Jalen Hurts is fine. He's the kid in the passenger seat with the plastic steering wheel cover. When you go to driving school, Bert, and you have the 2 steering wheels, and the driving instructor has the main steering wheel, even though he's in the passenger seat, to give you the idea that you're driving. That's what Jalen Hurts is doing. He's driving the car. He has the steering wheel, but in reality, everybody else is really driving the car. That's him. And so the Bills will be fine. Like they're going to be fine. And congrats. You want to say a win is a win? Just that's fine. Just don't pretend that it's because of Jalen Hurts. That's all. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
My Fugly, kind of in the same vein as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my Fugly is the Steelers losing to the Browns. Another one of those where you listen.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief if the Browns gave Shedeur Sanders the keys from the beginning, considering how the AFC North had turned out, they may be winning the AFC North. I think they have enough. I think Shedor's that talented. However, the reality is they're a 3-12 team. And the Steelers, all you had to do was win and clinch.
Yep.
And you lost. You made Shedeur Sanders look like, it looked like Mike Vick out there. It was crazy. And now what do you get for your troubles? Another winner-take-all scenario at Baltimore, a team that hates your guts. And you have to go on the road and win that game to win the division when you should have won it against a cupcake. This is the problem I have, because the Steelers, to me, they're like the midlife crisis team in the NFL, right? Like this fake tough guy persona that they kind of been portraying, the walking slow, Cam Hayward and Aaron Rodgers with Mike Tomlin in the middle, and they're talking shit to everybody when they win games. But if I told you that the Steelers would win +2 in the turnover battle, force 2 picks, and hold the Browns to 13 points, you'd be thinking they won the game. But nope.
Oh yeah, nope.
They lost. You know what I mean? There's no version of the math where you lose that game, and yet I'm watching them. And they could have played 6 more quarters and outscored a touchdown. So choking at home versus the Browns is inexcusable. Aaron Rodgers and leading an anemic offense is inexcusable when the division's on the line. And so to me, just their overall performance in that game specifically is fugly.
Yeah, dude, that was bad. That's another one where like I kind of bumped it in the same category, like you mentioned, the Bucs of Detroit too. It's just like, dude, you had this almost layup and you couldn't get it done, and now here we are.
So let's keep the theme of these 2 teams going, Bert. We have Week 18, big things at stake, right?
Yeah.
There's divisions. The NFC West is up for grabs. The AFC South is up for grabs. However, the issue for them is the loser will still make the playoffs in those races. So I want to focus on the AFC North and the NFC South because the loser of those games will be out of the playoffs. So let's keep it with the AFC North between the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. Who do you like in that game? Who do you trust to win that game? Who do you think is going to end up winning the division and in the playoffs?
Man, this is probably one of the closer ones. But after this week's performance, I'm giving the edge to Baltimore, especially if Derrick Henry is back. Right? I mean, to what coming off the heels of what you just spoke about, the Steelers couldn't close out against the Browns with a rookie quarterback. To go against Baltimore and a running back that just put in 4 TDs and over 200. I mean, come on, I have to give the edge to the Ravens too. However, with that being said, I can never count out Aaron Rodgers, not in the least bit. He's just like, he just won't go away. Even if we pretend he's not good anymore, which we know he's still plenty good, and he can come up very clutch. With that being said, DK, I think, is still suspended into next week too. So, not that he's been a major contributor into their offense this season, but certainly someone that was missed this past Sunday. But if I'm taking picks, I'm definitely going Baltimore through and through. I think the Steelers unfortunately fall short.
So I agree with you. I know people say, well, you have Tomlin being the underdog and the Steelers find a way to muddy games up and stuff like that. But you said it right there. DK Metcalf is still going to be suspended. And why that matters is while his numbers don't scream that, when he's off the field, you can tell that the Steelers' offense is different. You don't have DK to take the top off the coverage or at least draw those defenders away from the middle. And now you're asking these wide receiver threes to win one-on-one against Baltimore's corners. And you saw how well that worked out because, the Browns are 3-12. They actually have a really good defense. They've had a good defense all year. So you're going to run into a similar thing in Baltimore without your number one receiver or at least your number one distraction for the defenders to open up MVS because that was the Steelers game plan. 4th and whatever, let's throw a fade to MVS without DK. And I'll say it on Baltimore's side. Like you said, Derrick Henry, and I think obviously he's going to be a big part of everything that's going to happen there. But Bert, I got to be honest. I know Lamar Jackson's back is hurt. Snoop Huntley was all right. So if I can't believe I'm saying this. If Snoop Huntley is playing, I give Baltimore a better chance to win the game than Lamar Jackson. Because listen, again, people think we're getting theoretical versions of these players. Lamar Jackson has not been good all year. Okay. I don't care what he did last year. I don't care what he did 4 years ago. When we're talking about this year, this game this year matters. Lamar Jackson has not been good at all. There might have been a half or two that he looked really good, but for the most part, he has not looked good, specifically in the last few weeks. And I got to say, the last few weeks that the last few games that Snoop Huntley's played, the Ravens have been pretty good. So I don't know what that's about. But listen, I'm still, whether Snoop Huntley's quarterbacking or Lamar, I'm still probably going to take Baltimore because I think that we've seen without DK, the offense is just, there's nothing there. And so that's which makes it even more fugly that they lost the game to the Browns because I don't think they're going to make it out of Baltimore this week versus the Ravens. NFC South, the feisty Carolina Panthers team. I mean,
you want to talk about a team that won't go away, like the Panthers. I mean, my goodness.
Man, I don't know, man. The other monkey wrench in this plan is if we can acknowledge the math here for a second, the Falcons beat the Saints, right?
Yeah.
Panthers can lose this game and still get in because of a tiebreaker. So that's another. The Falcons may be now a lot has to go with I think 4 other teams have to lose for all that to happen. It's I remember somebody the guy that they get on NBC broke it all down. I was trying to jot it down as he was talking, but he made it seem like the Falcons technically could get in somehow through the grace of a bunch of tiebreakers. So we'll see. But it seemed like a small chance. So let's just focus on winner take all here. If I'm Carolina, I'm feeling pretty good. I know that the game against the Seahawks wasn't great, but for the most part, the last few weeks, Bryce Young has looked pretty good. The offense has looked pretty good. They need to lean more into Rico Dowdle running. I don't know what's going on with that, why they went back to splitting carries with Chuba Hubbard, but they need to stop doing that. But defense is playing well. Bryce Young's playing well. The Buccaneers have not been playing well. And the only real thing we can kind of say for the Buccaneers is when they're hot, they're really good if they can all get it together. The problem is the last 4 games, they haven't been able to put it together, Bert. So who do you have winning this game, taking the NFC South, and heading to the playoffs to host a playoff game?
I mean, I know it's fucking crazy, right? We got to fix that. Like something has happened. But listen, in this particular situation, we can look no further than 2 weeks ago when they played each other in Carolina. And this was a very, very close game that Carolina ended up winning by a field goal with about 2 minutes left in the fourth. And then, the Bucs unfortunately couldn't march down and get it done. So I think Vegas is favoring the Panthers. We have Tampa Bay at home. I want to believe that Baker Mayfield is going to show up in true Baker fashion, and so I will. So I think it's going to be another close game, but I think we're going to see, a Hayden Baker Mayfield that's going to get it done. I think it's probably going to be a 6-point differential in this game. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to be a huge win, but overall, I do think the Bucs walk away with the win. And I think it's because I'm certainly low-key rooting for Baker to do so. That being said, I would not be surprised if it goes the opposite way. But for me, I'm taking the Bucs.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, man. It's just crazy because you have these two teams in the Bucs and the Steelers who literally controlled their own destiny until they didn't. And now it's like this is not a position you want to be in. Even if you think that the Buccaneers are head and shoulders above the Panthers, and if you think the Steelers are head and shoulders above the Ravens, the fact that it's any given game. Like we just saw the Falcons beat the Rams. The Falcons have beaten the Bills. Like we've seen bad teams come up and shock the world, especially teams that have nothing to play for. But now you have now you have 4 teams that have everything to play for. This is going to be very, very interesting. Come week 18. All right, let's stay in the NFC. We have a couple wild card teams. Now, I was trying to look at the current standings because like the NFC West, right? You have the Rams and you have the Niners playing. Yep. The winner of that is going to win the division, but the loser is going to be a playoff team, or a wild card team. So,
well, the Seahawks have game in hand. Well, not game in hand, but so the Seahawks right now have the division. However, if they lose and the Niners win, I think it goes to tiebreakers.
Oh.
Which, if I'm... Yeah, I didn't do the math on that one.
Yeah, because all 3 should make it, no? Right? They all have...
Yeah, so... let's see. No, they're all making it. That's at 100%.
Yeah.
It's 50-50 because the Seahawks have to win to win the division and the number 1 seed. The Niners have to win to basically the Niners have to win and the Seahawks have to lose. They would win the division and the number 1 seed too.
Gotcha. So that being said, as it stands, yeah.
Yeah, and the Seahawks.
So let's pretend that they
finished up against. Man.
So as it stands right now,
yeah,
they're playing each other. That's what I'm saying. So, so like as it stands, we have the Niners, the Rams, and the Packers are the wild card teams. Which one of those teams do you trust the most to make a real Super Bowl run?
Oh, the Niners. And those three, I'll take the Niners. If they were off the board and it was between the Rams and the Packers, I'd take the Rams, 100%. I can't. And look, I mean, say what you will, and I understand that we just give praise to Baltimore, but and I understand how beat up Green Bay is right now, especially defensively. But I can't, in good faith, call them a legit Super Bowl contender after witnessing what I did this past Sunday, and particularly if it's between those three teams. I mean, for sure that the Rams can get it done, and having that experience too, and being there, right, and having a quarterback that has lived through it too. So that's certainly what I'd stick with is the Rams. However, you said with the 49ers, Rams, or Packers. So, I mean, of course, I'm going to say the 49ers through and through. You mentioned it before about Brock Purdy and changing, his complete quarterback image, instead of just being a game manager to a guy that is not just a game manager, but a guy that gets it done. And I think that's the biggest stamp too. And what we have to remember too is a 49ers team, 3 years ago that were in the Super Bowl as well, with I think second season Brock Purdy. So, or maybe even rookie season Brock Purdy. I can't remember, but yeah, I think they're probably the most legit contender if it were to fall to a wild card.
Yeah, like I said, the Niners easily could win the NFC West and then whatever. But as of today, they're a wild card team. And if I'm picking out of the ones from today, I'm like I'm high, like in that order, honestly. It's Niners, Rams, and then Packers, right? The Rams, the big thing is Devontae Adams. Like if they get him back and he's somewhat healthy and he can play and, they'll be fine. They almost won the other day of Puka Nakua's. I don't know what a catch is anymore. To me, he caught it, but whatever. The NFL's going to have to figure that out. But the Niners, they got the roster. They have the pedigree. And more importantly, they're peaking when seemingly almost every other NFC team is dealing with some sort of attrition, right? Like it's just everything seems to be going right for them. There's nothing that we can say, like we just mentioned the Rams. Well, Devontae Adams is not healthy. The Seahawks, the offense has been weird, like lately for the most part. So there's a lot going on. So if I was picking, I would say the Niners is probably the favorite, not only to make a good run, but maybe the favorite in the entire NFC. AFC, as of stands right now, you have the Texans, the Bills, and the Chargers. So obviously the Texans and Jags can swap, but as it stands today, the Texans are the wild card team, the 5 seed. I believe the Chargers are the 6 seed and the Bills are the 7 seed. Which one of those three teams do you trust the most to make a run?
Man, I know a lot of people will probably say the Bills. I cannot in good faith say the Bills at this point. I can't. And look, I think if it were if I'm going off Josh Allen's play alone and knowing how he is in the playoffs when he's not facing the Chiefs, I can rest assured on that. However, I can't trust the coaching, and that's ultimately what's going to win, championships, to say the least, is just well-prepared teams who go in with a huge game plan. So for me, so I'm going to pick between the Texans and the Chargers. And honestly, we're talking about teams on an upswing. I'm going with the Texans. You have CJ Stroud in a really good, healthy position now, coming back, looking more confident in that position too, heading into the playoffs. So, and with their defense as well, I think they're the ones that are most likely the ones to compete out of the wild card spot.
Shocker, Bert. I trust the Bills. I mean,
of course you do. Yeah. I'd be worried if you didn't.
Well, here's the thing. I could make an argument for Houston because, like the Niners, I feel like they also are peaking at the right time. But at the end of the day, when I look at all these teams, Bert, the Bills have Josh Allen. Like, I get that the last game, his foot's been injured. I'm pretty sure he's going to take one snap versus the Jets and rest, and he'll be fine. Josh Allen is one of one. And suddenly, the defense, since Thanksgiving, has turned it on. We just watched it with the Eagles. The Bills have the number 1 pass defense and the 3rd best defense in the NFL since Thanksgiving. Like their defense has improved immensely. So I don't trust the Chargers because they're going to have to travel to a cold weather area. So, ideally, if the Bills can sneak to the 5 seed, that'd probably be our best path to the playoffs. But let's say we stick with the 7 seed. All right, cool. We have to go play New England. We've already beat them in New England. We can do that. Like that's, and then now if we get the 6 seed, the only thing I would be worried about is if we had to go to Houston. If we have to play Houston in Houston, I'd be more nervous. But if Houston has to come up here and play, if we can somehow higher our seating and Jacksonville does what they're supposed to do, and then maybe Houston can upset New England. We'll see what happens, especially if Stephon Diggs, who can't keep his hands to himself, ends up getting suspended. We didn't even get into any of that, but if Stephon Diggs is not, they've already put Matt Collins on IR. If Diggs somehow ends up getting suspended for even at least one game for his issues, that changes everything for the playoffs. So if we can somehow get Houston to Buffalo, then I like my chances even more. I'm not really scared of Denver. I respect Denver, but there's nothing that I've seen from them that I don't think Buffalo can go up there and beat them. Like it's going to Houston is what I would probably be worried about. And then a lot does hinge on Josh Allen's leg. I have no reason to believe it's not broken. It's not anything. It's just he twisted it and it hurts, and he can't be the full Josh Allen if he's playing every week. So hopefully he'll rest against the Jets. He'll probably take a snap to preserve his starting streak, but I don't foresee a lot of the starters playing, winning or losing the game. We can't do no worse than 7, so it's not really going to matter overall. But like, do I trust the Chargers? You trust the Chargers, Bert? We've seen what they've done in the playoffs. Like they're the West Coast Dallas Cowboys. They do well in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, Justin Herbert is terrible. Like, so until that changes, I'm not trusting the Chargers. And then the Texans, again, the Texans weren't good until like halfway through the season. We don't know who they are. The Bills they still have the wins that they have. The Texans are hot and cold. There was talks of benching CJ Stroud shortly after he was injured because he was playing that bad. Now they're playing well right now. But again, they've been so up and down this season that I'm not going to trust them over a Josh Allen-led team, because we've seen Josh Allen literally lead miraculous comebacks, single-handedly win games, and more importantly, he has the experience in the playoffs that a lot of these other guys don't. So I'm going to lean on that, and I'm going to trust big Josh Allen for the playoffs. All right. Awesome. Bert, we got to throw back buckets before we get to our game balls.
Oh, that's right.
I think Mike and Carl want to throw theirs back. I'm going to throw back the Giants too. Like that's I don't know smart. They're going to be tanking. So let's go ahead and they should be tanking. I have the Houston Texans. All right. Carl. The Texans are a good pick because they have something to play for, so they're going to try. Carl, the feisty Chicago Bears.
Nice.
And Mike, the Cincinnati Bengals, his daughter's favorite team.
Nice.
Who somehow are starting all their players because of vibes and they want to play well. So that's what they're doing.
Nothing else to play for. You may as well have fun,
Hey, why not? Bert, you got a game ball.
So back in November, Brad Marchand of the Florida Panthers, formerly of the Boston Bruins, joined the 1,000-point club in the NHL, which is a huge, huge accomplishment. And say what you want about him, he's an absolute agitator. He is, some say, one of the dirtiest players in the league. However, he comes with a lot of offensive firepower, so much so when he was traded from the Bruins to Florida last year, he helped them win a Stanley Cup. So he is an integral player. I would not be surprised to see his name on a Hall of Fame ballot down the line. The reason I'm mentioning it now is because the Panthers today are having their little ceremony for him at home for the 1,000-point club. I figure I'd mention it too and give him my game ball as well.
Awesome. Shout out to him. I know that nobody else other than the New Orleans Saints fans are excited about a quarterback on a 6-10 team, but I'm going to give the game ball to Tyler Shogue. I'm not trying to be a prisoner of the moment guy, but if you actually watch the game against Tennessee, Shogue looked like the best quarterback on the field. And that's even with Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick, on the other sideline. But, when I watched him, I said, man, rookie QBs usually struggle with processing and decision making. And Shog didn't seem that way at all. Like, he didn't hold the ball too long. He didn't panic check down. He went 22 for 27. And he had a 60-yard dime to Chris Olave in the third quarter. And throwing with that type of anticipation is very rare for a rookie quarterback. And I don't know if it's because the Saints have nothing to lose and they're just playing loose. He's not trying very hard in terms of, I shouldn't say trying very hard, but they know they're a bad team, so there's no pressure. So he's just playing within the game and he can play freely. That's, he showed me a lot of big boy quarterbacking. The Saints started off 1-7. Kellen Moore looked like he was looking for OC openings because it looks like he wasn't cutting it as a head coach. And here we go, Shog, and they've rattled off 4 straight wins. And his QBR for the game was 142.7. That's the highest ever for a rookie, for a Saints rookie, I should say. So, he has the efficiency. To me, he passed the eye test. He had an 80-yard game-winning drive. All of it's there. So I know we like to overthink in the draft. Shog fell to 40 because he had a little bit of an injury history. He was a little bit older, but he stands at 6'5". He delivers strikes. And I don't know if the Saints just, you have to say to yourself, if you're a Saints fan, maybe we'll ask Adam Lewis if they found the guy. And like I said, Tyler Shog definitely, at least for one Sunday, looked like a professional quarterback. So I want to give him and the New Orleans Saints a little bit of flowers. It looked like that 6 turned upside down as a 9. I don't know if that means anything. I didn't do the knowledge on that, but number 9 in New Orleans did pretty well for a lot of years. So maybe 6 will do the same for them. Bert, we had a wonderful 2025. Yeah, it was amazing. We grew over 11,000 on Instagram. Follow us at Stuff About Sports. Me and Bert will be back with you in 2026. Shout out to the dad jokes out there. We'll see you next year.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of things going on. Stephon Diggs, keep your hands to yourself, man. All right, that's what you pay him for. You don't pay him to love you. You pay him to leave. All right, you don't gotta strangle him because that costs extra.